Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in today's event honoring the life and legacy of Toni Morrison. For my reflection today, I am going to share a clip from an interview Toni Morrison had with Charlie Rose in 1998 that is responding to the question a journalist had once asked her: can you imagine writing a novel that's not centered on race? So what I'm going to do is play a few minutes of her response, and then share with you my reflection on her words and my work as an academic and how it's impacted me as an academic in my work at Seattle University.
Responding because I have had reviews in the past that have accused me of not writing about white people. I remember a review of Sula in which the reviewer said, this is all well and good, but one day she, meaning me, will have to face up to the real responsibilities and get mature and write about the real confrontation for Black people, which is white people. As though our lives have no meaning and no depth without the white gaze. And I've spent my entire writing life trying to make sure that the white gaze was not the dominant one in any of my books. And the people who helped me most arrive at that kind of language were African writers. Chinua Achebe, Bessie Head, those writers who could assume the centrality of their race because they were Africans. And they didn't explain anything to white people. Those questions were incomprehensible to them. Those questions that I would have as a minority living in an all-white country like the United States. But when I read the poetry of César, or the poetry of Senghor, or the novels particularly, Things Fall Apart was more important to me than anything. Only because there was a language, there was a posture, there were the parameters. I could step in now, and I didn't have to be consumed by or be concerned by the white gaze. That was the liberation for me. It has nothing to do with who reads the books. Everyone, I hope, of any race, any gender, any country. But my sovereignty and my authority as a racialized person had to be struck immediately with the very first book. And it was strange because in this country, many books, particularly then, 40s, 50s, you could feel the address of the narrator over my shoulder, talking to somebody else, talking to somebody white. I could tell because they're explaining things that they didn't have to explain if they were talking to me. It was that. So it's profound for me. So that you may be right, maybe I'm over-dramatizing the whole question, which was innocent enough because the problem of being free to write the way you wish to without this other racialized gaze is a serious one for an African-American writer. Very serious.
I think this is one of those times where what you just said, you gave and ennobled an answer regardless of the significance of the question.
So thank you. So I shared that with you because I want to talk about how...
Toni Morrison is here. Her novels include The Bluest Eye.
There we go. Wanted to talk about how she really shifted the gaze. And in doing this, she allowed for others who weren't Black to really eavesdrop, you could say in many ways, on the intercommunal conversations of Black people in a way that really illuminated our humanity and the universality of humanity across races. And so in doing this reflection and thinking about how Morrison's work has influenced me over the years, I ask myself these questions as I think about my last 17 years at Seattle University. Who is my audience? And as Eduardo Bonilla de Silva references, at a historically white college and university like Seattle University, who is my audience? And as a Black woman faculty member, who is my audience? So this includes in the classroom, when I'm teaching, and I'm teaching about race and gender, who is my audience, as well as my scholarship. For example, today I'm wearing my Cite Black Woman t-shirt. If you're not familiar with this movement, you should definitely check it out. Their website is the citeblackwomancollective.org. And so I just really hope as you continue forward with today's event and afterwards, that you think about not only what I've shared and Toni Morrison has shared about the audience, and think about who we're centering in our work and in our stories. But I urge you to contemplate Toni Morrison's words as well and reflect upon in your own work, in your own life, who is your audience and why? Thank you.